hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Wow.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm fantastic, mate. Fantastic. Thanks,
It's
John.
lovely to see you because you were one of the very, very firsts on this journey that we made contact with.
I believe I was one of your original 37 subscribers on your YouTube channel.
Certainly were. You
And
certainly
I feel blessed, honoured, and privileged to have been with you on this whole journey so far.
It's been a wonderful journey. Stressful at times.
No, I haven't felt too much stress.
I haven't either. But I've been helping people deal with their stress. I think when you know what the truth is, it makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Um,
And just to say that, you know, how long have we been in lockdown now? Is it 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? I can't remember. No, 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, I was under the impression that, you know, I had my eyes fairly wide open.
Yeah.
Had I? You don't realise how much you don't know until you start to know a few things. And I was absolutely clueless, looking back.
Yeah, same.
It's like I've been on a crash course in world affairs. I had no interest in politics whatsoever.
No.
But it's as though I've been on a crash course in world affairs for the past however many months. And it's been, to coin your phrase, it's been fascinating.
It's been amazing. When they lock us down, I said to the boys this morning, it's like being locked in your bedroom by your mum and told not to look in the drawers. And people like you and I just go, what's in the drawer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when you start looking at what's in the drawer, you find things you never thought would be there.
Never imagined could be there, in fact.
Exactly.
In my case.
Like I've done a tremendous amount of research in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, trying to find out the purpose for the masks at this current stage in many countries.
Mm-hmm.
They picked on certain countries for a reason. And I've found out now from my inside source, the social distancing and the masks, I thought they were to round up the loose ends of the paedophiles, etc., and the paedophile gangs. And there's an element of truth in that. But it's also an experiment for facial recognition to see if it works. And this is why you've got to keep social distancing so they can see how close or how far away. So if you start from 2 meters, so were you being treated like guinea pigs?
Yep.
On an absolute lie. Everyone's in fear, thinking they might catch a non-existent virus. I mean, you know, I live in Spain where the temperature today is 30 plus degrees. It was 36 degrees yesterday. In Dubai, it's over 45 degrees. In Saudi Arabia, it's over 45 degrees. The virus cannot exist over 24 degrees outside of the body.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to take Mike's or my word for it. You can go onto the government website. You can go onto the CDC website. You can go onto the WHO website. It's very, very clear.
All hidden in plain sight. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Let me tell you just a couple of quick stories. I've become I get out and about a lot, and I'm always with random strangers. And the last week or two, I've lost a bit of patience, and I've become very, very vocal in my skepticism, shall we say?
Yeah.
And quite loudly vocal as well. You know, because you have plenty of time in queues to chat to each other, to chat to other people these days. I have not challenged once, not once, on my views. Yesterday I was in a shop, and there was a guy in there in a brightly coloured mask, you know, really funky mask. And he spoke to me. So I said to him, you know, this is the thin end of the wedge, don't you know? First it's a mask, then it's the vaccine identity card, then it's the microchip. And his face under the mask contorted, and he said, yeah, it's scary, isn't it? I said, well, I'm not scared because it's not going to happen to me. And he said, he said, I don't feel well wearing this mask. He says, it affects my breathing. I've been getting headaches. So I said to him, why are you wearing it? And he paused for a few seconds and he said, I don't know. And I burst out laughing, and so did he, and he went off. And then I was out and about an hour later, and this guy came towards me and smiled at me, and I realised it was the same guy, maskless. And I said to him, where is it? He said, well, you asked me a question and I couldn't answer it. He said, it made me think, so I've taken it off. That made my day.
Oh, totally, totally. One more person that's waking up to truth. And people go, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Really? Are you that dumb? You know,
how anybody is still falling for this is absolutely beyond me.
In Spain, you could not believe it. I mean, 95% of the people here are absolutely, between the two ears, there's zero brain cells. They're not even checking anything. They're believing everything they're told.
Yeah.
And you know, it's 36 degrees and you see these old people dying. And the other thing that I thought about when I saw this, in the summer when the virus cannot exist, they're breaking down your immune system by making you wear a mask, so that when a virus does come in November, when it's colder, when it can exist, you're fucked.
Yep.
You're well and truly fucked because you didn't use your brain. And you actually deserve to die because you're thick as fuck. You deserve to get a virus that kills you because you're that stupid.
I agree. I agree. It is just unfathomable to me how anybody is still buying it. But I have to say, where I live, and I think in the UK generally, more and more people are waking up. I think more than we actually realise at the moment. That's my own experience.
Well, you have to remember that people like Nick Hancock are part of the problem. He's part of the deep state.
Yes.
He also has a business that sells masks. So you get that into your perspective when you start looking at things.
And he's got shares in a vaccine company as well.
Correct. So you don't need to be a rocket scientist to work out that he's a bit of a
twat.
That's the word I was looking for.
I thought it was.
Yeah. It's amazing, but it's so lovely to see people that have woken up to the fact or aware of the fact that things just don't add up. And I would have thought that a lot more people would have been aware after so long, because the quarantine started off at 2 weeks. We're now 14, 16 weeks in. And the temperature is far too high for any form of virus to actually do any damage to you. But they're still playing this game. And it's almost like a test now to see how many people are stupid enough to believe them.
Yeah.
It's a bit like when you're at school, you try and get away with things. And if you get away with one thing, you try and get away with a bit more. Yeah. And that's what they're doing. And because people are not aware of stuff, and it just shows that what they do is they sit down in front of the telly and listen and believe everything they're told. And it's embarrassing.
It is. And I've found it increasingly difficult to communicate with the sleepers.
Yeah, yeah. They sort of shut down, haven't they? They've mentally shut down, and they're not investigating anything. They're believing the mainstream media.
And they're the ones who get aggressive in the debate.
It is. I had a German come up to me yesterday in Mercadona. Typical German. You need a mask, sir. You need a mask. I said, does your one work? He's gone, yes. I said, well, you worry about you and I'll worry about me.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Same, exactly the same argument for the vaccine as well, yeah?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But look, this is, in reality, you and I have been on this journey together. And we all know that this is the deep state fighting back, the cabals fighting back. This is not what Donald Trump wants. This is not what the alliance behind him wants. But he's having to let them show how evil they really are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that the people wake up to the fact that these people are not doing good things to us. And it's very easy in America, different to the UK, because he can go, Democrat state, Democrat state. anyone that's run by a Democrat deserves to have a vaccine because it will kill them all off, so they won't have any votes left anyway. But it's just absolute stupidity. Whereas in England, it's not so definitive. You have to watch. And I said it so many times, if it looks like shit and smells like shit, it's probably shit.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now. And Hancock is definitely part of the problem. But his days are numbered. But it's important that people are aware of the truth so that they can get rid of the fear.
Yeah. And let me tell you that, I've watched your videos from the start.
Yeah.
It's not always just what you say that I take note of. It's your body language. And let me tell you, Charlie, you have got a fantastic naughty boy face.
Well, I've been a naughty boy once or twice.
Well, yeah, I can tell it's well practiced, but you've got a great naughty boy face. Right. And it's been so obvious for a few weeks now that how comfortably you've been sitting, and the fact that you've got a lot more that you know that you can't share at the moment.
Yeah.
And that as much as what you've said has been what I've taken note of. But let me tell you, I think you saved your best naughty boy face of all for when you were asked by, and I think it was by David Rodriguez, if JFK Jr. was still alive. That to me was your absolute pinnacle of naughty boy faces.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation because I'm not the best at keeping secrets, but I've had to learn the hard way. And I got told the other day I have a face that's lived in, whatever that means, but I don't mind.
I'd take that as a compliment.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I would love to tell everybody. I'd love to, but I've just been told just to wait.
I know.
And be patient. And this is why I'm so peaceful, because I know if I can just give you one piece of information that I was told, which I can share, and that was that we'd passed the critical point about 10 weeks ago.
Yes, I remember you.
Yeah, I told you guys that were following, we've passed the critical point, but now we're in the tail end, and it's a bit like when you wring a chicken's neck, it's still running around and it's still causing chaos, but it's dead.
Yeah.
The deep state, the cabal, the Illuminati, the Democrat Party, as it is in current form, is dead. It's just kicking off at the moment still, and trying to cause as much mayhem as possible, because we're coming into a very important phase now, the final phases where the final dregs of the swamp are being drained, the final dregs. And we're coming into what we started off with this journey, the Great Awakening.
And isn't it fantastic? Isn't it? It's such a privilege to be alive right now. This is maybe the most pivotal point in human history.
Certainly in yours and my history, our grandfathers fought in the Second World War and great-grandfathers in the First World War. And that was pivotal. And you and me have been on the front line in the Third World War.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said to many people that what could have happened, the consequences of losing the Second World War would pale into insignificance with the consequences of losing this war.
Yeah, because we'd have had to say 2 meters.
Yeah, you do that very well.
Yeah, but we'd have been talking German, wouldn't we?
It's an absolute privilege to be alive right now.
Isn't it just? And we're living in a wonderful world.
We are. We're going to have to face some shocking facts. In your video yesterday was so powerful, mate. It was raw emotion. I've never seen you like that before, and it was absolutely fantastic. And that's the shocking reality that we've all got to face. But we need to be aware of that to make sure it never happens again. And we need to be aware of it to be. Go on, sorry.
It touched a nerve, because there's another part that I had a 20-minute script ready to go through that I didn't get through because the point was made. You spoke
straight from your heart, mate, and it was so. As a result,
somebody tried to kidnap my daughter when she was very, very young, a paedophile, and an old lady, a very old lady in her 80s, screamed loud enough that the guy drove off, and he tried to pick her up in his car near the school. And I said to the police, if you don't catch him, I will. And if I catch him, I won't bring him to you. I will kill him. And they said, you could go to prison for life. I said, I'd go to prison for life very happy. Wouldn't bother me at all.
Yep.
And if anybody, I don't care who you are, if anybody does any damage to any child, even if it's a parent to their own child, I'll be coming for you. Yeah.
Well, I don't do angry unless anybody does something to my two kids.
Correct. Totally
and then
correct.
The red mist descends.
Totally correct. Because we sometimes overlook something. These children are gifts to us from God, and we are custodial.
Kids are our greatest gift.
So the greatest gift we've ever been given, and it's our duty as parents and grandparents to look after the most treasured gift. And for people that are out there abusing it, and I've had this thing about TikTok, and I said, look, it's very important that my son understands what a paedophile is. Very, very important. Because if you hide your children away from these evil people, in your day and my day, if an old man came up and said, want a sweetie? And we'd take a sweetie. But nowadays, that's the start of grooming.
Yeah.
And we need to educate our kids, not hide them away. We need to tell them that these people are evil and these people are good. And even after this is something that's very important, Mike. After this, evil will not disappear. It'll still be there, but good will have taken back control.
Yeah, yeah.
Because evil has had control. Evil will still be there. It won't be heaven on earth, with everything being wonderful. That won't happen. There'll still be evil out there, but it'll be controlled in a better way.
Yes, yeah. And a more equitable way than we have at the moment.
Totally. But there's been a shift in balance, hasn't there, where evil has taken control of our lives in general.
Yeah, and that's something that I was a little bit aware of, but the depths of it have astonished me. Absolutely astonished me. I've been to places. I've seen things that I never thought were possible.
I still love that analogy. When you leave New York in a boat and you're heading to Ireland, if you're 1 degree out, it seems like nothing when you leave.
Yeah.
When you get across the Atlantic, you're not in Ireland. You're not even in England. You're in France.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened in our lives. We've been slightly out of sync. We're now we were a long way away from where we needed to be. But thank God for Donald Trump, who's actually bringing us back through those choppy waters to where we should be at. And forget identity politics. Forget whether you like him or hate him. The fact that he, as a president, in the last 30 years, he's the only one that hasn't gone to war against anybody.
Yep.
He's got people working again. He's got people feeling good about themselves again. So what makes him evil? Just the fact that he does silly tweets? People need to work out the truth.
But we all know now why he does silly tweets, and why
exactly.
He tweet in the first place to swerve the mainstream media.
I do silly tweets when I've had a gin and tonic.
But we've got all this shocking stuff to confront. But things can change in an instant. And when I woke up yesterday morning, did I think for 1 minute that I would be on the Charlie Ward show today? Did I? Hell.
Yeah.
But I put one post out. Lee contacted me, and here I am, and I'm so grateful to you, mate.
Well, it wasn't even meant to be the Charlie Ward show. It was just I was out doing my walk in the morning, having a little natter, and finished up with Jesus loves you, but everyone else seemed to a cunt. And then I had to change that to twat, otherwise I'd been taken off air.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. If you'll allow me to finish this video with your,
by all means.
I'll be able to die happy.
Yeah, certainly. But Stephen Saunders, who's the Michelin star chef in Spain at the Little Geranium restaurant in La Cala, he and I, you couldn't make this up. He and I were born on the same day, the 8th of June. I was born in 1960. He was born in 1961 in the same hospital.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he when I went round to his house to do one of my videos there just about food and healthy eating, he called it the Charlie Ward Show. It was not my idea. He came up with the name, so thank you, Stephen. And if you want some good food, go to see Stephen and Michelle Saunders in La Cala. I'll put the link in here for him. I'll give him a shout out because he's an absolute diamond. But yeah, he was the one that named the Charlie Ward Show.
Okay, cool. Now, my original intention with this video was to talk about, you know, the guidelines from the 24th of July. We have to wear shops, yeah? So, presumably, we're safe going into shops without masks until the 20th of July.
Yeah.
The virus won't get active till then. I'm not going to wear a mask. You know, you will never ever see me in a mask. End of. So I just wanted to talk about common law. However, the police have now come out and said that it was left up to the police to enforce this guideline, not shop owners. So
you made a very good point there. It's a guideline, not a law.
Absolutely, yes, guideline. But it's not down to the shopkeepers or shop owners to police it. It was left to the police. Well, the police have said they can't. It's unenforceable now. Yeah. So it's pretty much out the window. But I believe we're coming back to common law, Charlie, as part of Jasara, yeah?
That's certainly part of it. And I was speaking yesterday to the powers that be in Washington, and they seem to feel that we're going to make some steps forward this week in the financial reset and what have you, because that's critical to the whole part of this.
Yeah, sure.
Because all of this is a smokescreen to cover up the global financial reset and the revaluation.
Yep. But two key things, because again, 4 or 5 months ago, I knew nothing about common law.
Sure.
I'm not claiming to be an expert in it now, but I know a lot more than I did back then. Two things that really nailed it for me.
Yeah.
The first one is that government is a creation of man, therefore can never be above man.
Correct.
Now, is it me, or are governments all around the world acting as though they control us at the moment, therefore are above us?
That's exactly what they're trying to do right now, but this is their last desperate bid for control.
But common law says that we are above government.
Correct.
Yeah. And the second thing that nailed it for me was that the UK government, and I think every other government around the world, but I'll talk about the UK government. The UK government is a private corporation registered with Dun & Bradstreet.
Correct.
Just like, let's say, British Telecom or McDonald's are private corporations, yeah?
Yeah.
And would we take any notice, would we give it a second thought if we had a letter come through the door from McDonald's or BT or any other private corporation to tell us that we had to wear masks when we go into a shop? Of course we wouldn't. And it's exactly the same thing.
And because of the way the old legal system, the maritime law, is set up, you and I are actually not human beings. We're commodities.
Yeah, and we're dead entities, according to our...
Correct.
We're corporations, and if you look at the word corp, means dead. Oration means speak. So dead speak.
Yes.
So we
look at mortgage, death pledge.
Yeah. Yeah, when you get into the real meanings of words, so many things become apparent, don't they?
Well, it helps the process to wake up, because then you start to realise, hang on a second, what people are saying starts to make sense. And one thing that you and I have created our following from, because people have said, what I'm hearing right now doesn't make sense, but what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because it's the truth.
Yeah.
And lies don't make sense.
And it makes sense because it is sense as well.
Exactly right.
You know, common law states, as long as I don't cause you any harm, loss or injury, I can do virtually whatever I want.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes perfect sense to me. That has to be a victim in common law.
Sure.
Too many are victimless in the legal system that we live in today. Yeah,
totally. But you know, we're on the journey, and it's an amazing journey. It's a wonderful journey, isn't it?
It's been my mother, who, you know, God rest her soul, she passed away in 2006, but I love my mother dearly.
Yeah.
And she was a teenager during the Second World War. And she used to tell me that, you know, as for all the hardships, it was one of the best times of her life.
Yeah, brings people together.
Exactly. Everybody was pulling in the same direction.
Yeah.
And that's what you've created, mate. I think you more than most. You've brought thousands of people across the world together.
Yeah.
And we've got an amazing tribe, an amazing, and it's been such a privilege to be, you know, a small part of this journey.
Well, I said right from the start, I just had 4 corners of a puzzle, and we're all pieces of a puzzle. And when you put it together, you get the picture.
Yeah.
And every single person is a very important part of that puzzle. And you don't realize the importance of that one piece until you finish the puzzle and you find there's a hole.
Yeah.
And it's time now to realize that every single person is a valuable asset in finding out what's true.
We're all sovereign beings who have dominion over the earth.
Correct.
And to really get that is such an empowering realization.
It makes you peaceful inside when you know it.
Absolutely, does, yeah. Because you become untouchable.
Yeah, totally. And it's very interesting, those that were threatening me from the powers above, if you like, for the want of a better way of putting it, at the start to shut up. Now all they can do is take the piss. And when I spoke to my guys in America, they actually said to me, the next thing you'll get is they'll just think you're a crackpot and they'll just laugh at you. They said, if you're doing that, you'll know you've really upset them. So I just sit back and just ignore them, because that hurts them even more. Just ignore their little antics and what have you. Either they don't know what's really going on, or they do and they're very, very nervous about it getting out there just yet.
Yeah.
One or t'other. And I hope it's the latter, and I hope they're not really that thick, because it's not very nice to think that you're mixing with people that are really thick.
But there's more and more coming out every day, isn't there? You know,
there's a lot more people. We change the wording now to, instead of waking up, they're aware, because they get offended when you say, well, it's nice that you've woken up. Well, I was never fucking asleep. You were unaware, but now you're aware, and they sort of take to it a bit better, that they become aware, and it's terminology. So
but more revelations are coming out every day as well now, it would seem, and you know the pace is accelerating, and
in the Daily Telegraph yesterday, I think it was, that they announced that 160 odd politicians have been arrested in the United Kingdom.
I missed that, but fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of politicians, a lot of high-powered people that are being arrested. Some have been charged, some have just been questioned, but it'll be drip-fed.
And if some of the lists that are doing the rounds on social media to be believed, there've been a number of executions already.
Well, I know there's been a lot of executions, and I know that factually there's been a lot, but I don't know exactly who.
Yeah.
Because I can have the names of people from trusted sources. When I see the video evidence, because they've all had video confessions and video evidence retained. So it's been fully recorded and documented.
And my understanding is that those will start to be released early next year.
That's correct. The most important thing is, and we overlook this, that Donald Trump has an election in November.
Yes.
So that'll be the crescendo, because if you look at the Democrats, they've run out of bullets. And the bullets they had from the start were only rubber bullets anyway.
Yeah.
They've fired off everything, and then, when you got 80-year-olds with machine guns with rubber bullets, they're not a lot of use, are they really?
So you think it'll all be over come November the 3rd?
I think by the end of this year, that people will be a lot clearer. I think probably this week, next week, I think hopefully we'll be aware of the revaluation and the financial reset more. I think there'll be more clues out there. It won't be splashed across the front pages of the newspapers. People that know what's going on will become aware of information that's coming out. There'll be certain changes that are happening, and you'll see the currencies come to parallel in a lot of the countries. And then I had the list yesterday of the countries that they're going to reset and reevaluate, so that it gives them wealth. They won't be exactly one-to-one. Some will be, but they'll certainly make them a lot wealthier. And that list I had straight out of the straight down from the top. So we know it's real.
Fantastic. Let me ask you a question, because doesn't Nasara and Jassara have to be announced in some way?
It does in some way, and that hasn't been done yet. I think what they're doing is breaking people in gently before the announcement, so that it's not such a bombshell.
Okay.
Because I would say that 60%, 70% of the world have never even heard of the word Nasara or Jassara.
Yeah, if not more. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe more. So when they find out, they'll start researching, and they go, "Yeah, it's not possible. It can't work." That'll be the first. But there's a tremendous amount of hard work gone into this over the last 30, 40, 50 years. JFK was planning to introduce Nasara, and then the second time was on September the 11th. So.
Well, I remember from your conversation with Jack Kidd weeks ago when you were talking about Jassara, and he said that he was involved in the Rebuild Scotland plan, and there's a rebuild plan for every country.
Yeah,
isn't there? Which shows how much work. It told me how much work and planning has already gone into this.
Yeah, there's a team of 8,000 people that have put this together. And it's taken the best part of 10 years of planning.
Yeah.
But there's been no mistakes. They've made sure. But this tail end here, because the deep state and the cabal are so dangerous, they've been changing their moves all the time. But there's always been a counter move already planned well in advance. It started off with the vaccine, and then it was 5G, and then it was the riots. They've always got the alien invasion up their sleeve in case they need it. Yeah.
That did make me laugh when you first shared that one.
I know, but it's just you get these little gems of information that just make you smile, because people like you and I go, really? Because we're of that age group, The last time we saw a flying saucer was the one that you put in your mouth that had fizzy stuff in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Spacecraft or whatever they were, space something.
They'd always stick to the roof of your mouth.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That was the last spacecraft we ever saw for real.
But just going back to Jassara, I think we're all aware of the benefits it's going to bring to the whole world. But to me, it's more of a spiritual shift than anything.
Yes, it is. Yes,
that's going to be the basis of it all.
That's been a huge learning curve for me, the spiritual side, because you talk to any spiritualist and they're telling you we're living in the part of revelation. It's all been revealed there, and it's all being revealed, and they're all on the same frequency. Yeah,
but also the spiritual awareness of who we really are.
Yeah,
I've said for many years now that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And I think more and more people are becoming aware of that magnificent truth.
Exactly. It is a magnificent truth.
Say again, sorry.
It is a magnificent truth.
It's the most magnificent truth.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an absolute privilege to live through this time, shocking as it is. And I'm going to say something now, but I'm not speaking just on my own behalf. I'm speaking for many thousands of people across the world to say a very public thank you, mate, for what you've done.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your support, Mike. Without people like you supporting me, it would have been a completely different journey. I've had support from you, from Mel Eves, who's been brilliant. And who was the young lad that introduced us?
Alex Higgins.
Alex has been an absolute diamond.
He's an amazing guy, is Alex.
Sorry?
Amazing guy is Alex.
He is. He's, for a young lad, Alex Hickman, is it?
Yes. He's 28.
28 years old, incredibly well read, done his homework. And there's so many young lads of his age that just haven't done that. And he's done a lot of research. And there's a few of them out there that have been absolutely rock solid in their. Yeah, I remember Alex was a bit shaky at certain stages because he's a young lad. I had a slight advantage because I had inside information, which does help. But you know, I've managed to remain focused. My wife, right at the start, didn't believe a word of what I was saying, and she kept saying, "Well, show me proof, show me proof." And after I showed her about 10 pieces of proof, she suddenly got right behind me and became the most supportive person you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, the change. And you know, I feel for people. There's certain people that haven't had the support that I've had, who want to challenge the truth, to make sure it is the truth. People say, no, just listen to BBC One, just listen to ITV, listen to CNN, listen to all this bullshit that's being pumped out there, and it's no good.
No, and I've got to. Did I call out Alex Higgins when I first?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, Alex. Sorry, I didn't know where my mind was then.
Yeah, you threw me there. You threw me on Alex Higgins, but Alex Hickman, yeah.
But no, certainly without you, my journey would not have been the same. And I know that's the same for thousands of people, thousands of other people as well. You've been an absolute star, mate.
Well, I appreciate your support. I really do. It's been amazing.
And I love you to bits.
You too, Mike.
Yeah. And if you could do me the honour of allowing me to finish this video, like I say, I'll be able to die a happy man.
Go ahead.
So thank you so much for your time this morning, Charlie. This has been an absolute delight. And just remember, Jesus loves you, even if everybody else thinks you're a twat.
Thank you very much, Mike. Been an absolute pleasure.
See you soon, mate.
Hi, it's Justin, and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.